Awesome, guys. So this is going to be a training on how to lose weight around Thanksgiving. Okay. And there's going to be two topics that I want to talk to you guys today about. And this is going to apply to all of you guys. Okay. So pretty much every one of y'all is going to follow what this is right here, 6-1. I mentioned to you guys a little bit about calorie cycling previously, but essentially what this means is that you're going to have 6 low days and you're going to have 1 high day, right? That 1 high day is actually going to be Thanksgiving, right? And I actually want you guys to like hit the baseball for a home run and just give yourself a monstrosity of calories. And the reason why that is because it's Thanksgiving and I want you guys going into the holiday enjoying it. And I don't want you judging yourself. And I don't want you necessarily feeling like you have to track every calorie in your mouth. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm actually more or less saying give yourself a really big safety blanket and follow some food guidelines. So therefore, you can at least watch the football game and you don't fall asleep. That's the idea, right? And so 6-1 means 6 low days, 1 day, Thanksgiving being a very high amount. And then and then what I call the Thanksgiving playbook. It's just a bunch of rules that we're going to go through. Okay. So we can do this an example for someone here. Let's see. I have Tyler's up, so we'll just do his for an example, but 200-pound male. Okay. 1,800 calories, let's say, is his goal. That would mean his weekly calorie goal is 12,600. Okay, let's just for an example, look at Tyler's because it's already pulled up. So his high goal is 1950. He hasn't been consuming that. He's been consuming around 1,800. So let's go ahead and say his goal is 1,800. Okay, we would go 1,800 and we'd multiply that by 7. Okay, like in this example, 12,600 calories in a week is what he has to work with. You guys all understand that in order to lose weight, you guys have to be in a deficit. The calorie goal is the deficit, but you're actually also able to lose weight if it's in a week. So that's saying that if my man here has 12,600 calories to work with in a week, that means he has $12,600 he gets to spend in a week. As long as he's spending the same amount of money each week, he will be consistent. So all we're doing with 6 low days and 1 high day is we're taking this weekly goal and we're just separating it. Okay. You're going to choose the 1 high day. So let's say it's 3,000 calories for Thanksgiving, or let's say it's 3,500, right? We basically just take 12,600 and then we subtract it by the high day, 3,000, and then we divide by 6, which gets them 1,600 calories, which you would have the 6 days for low. This is basically saying, guys, that you will still see a trend going down on your week, even by having a dumb amount of calories on Thanksgiving. If you follow this format, which I want everyone to do, and if you guys need help with this, just reach out to me. Okay. I'm going to highlight Kirk because Kirk's done a really fascinating job with this because anytime he needs a question, he's in Slack. So don't feel like you guys are bothering me. I'm not. If he's at the grocery store, he sends me photos and things like that. It was like, is this okay? Like, because he just wants to know everything, right? And that's totally great. Like, he will just be in contact with me, which is really good. And I love that because then I can provide as much value to you as possible. You two do a great job of communicating too. I'm just giving you as an example. Okay. So Vince, you and I could do this together as well, but Tyler, this is an example of what yours would look like. And let's say that 3,000 is not enough because you're going to have alcohol. Bring it to 3,500, and that would just mean that it's probably going to be around 1,400 calories, which I think they're like 1,450 or something like that, which is a low amount. But if you want to enjoy Thanksgiving and have alcohol and have a bunch of food, then that's okay, right? You guys have any questions on this real quick?
No, makes sense.
No. Okay. Awesome. So let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. The Thanksgiving playbook. Okay. This is going to be basically a step-by-step of exactly how I want you guys to go about treating the holiday. Okay. Number 1 here, save your calories for dinner. Okay. This is pretty self-explanatory. So on that 1 high day, if it's 3,000 calories, it would make most sense that if you're saving the calories for dinner. So 3,000 calories, right? That's a lot of calories for you to work with. So you don't feel like you're stressing about eating too much. Like the goal is almost to set yourself up to eat too much because it's Thanksgiving, right? So, and what this would mean is you guys could choose an intermittent fasting option in the morning. So essentially you wouldn't eat and you'd have something like coffee or something like water, lemon water or flavored water or seltzer water or whatever it is to go ahead and curb your hunger enough to get to dinner. Now, I know everyone's families does it a little bit different. My family always kind of did an earlier dinner around like 5 o'clock for whatever reason. So I'm not sure what that looks like for y'all. Some people do it in the afternoon. Some people do it at night. So I'm not sure what it looks like, and I'm not sure what your plans are for Thanksgiving. Vince, I don't know if you're doing with your daughters. And Ty, you're probably doing with M's family or your family.
Yeah, I have two different Thanksgivings to go to.
Okay,
Or
Friendsgiving.
I have
and
like
Thanksgiving?
three. I think I have three, actually.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so if that were the case, then you would actually have to do 3 low days and 3 high days. And
Well,
4
it's a
low
it's
days.
a it's a three. I mean, it's just three different places on Thanksgiving. So like it's just gonna be one day like of
Okay.
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of calories. So I would
Yeah,
just,
I'll probably just like eat more at one place and then just like not eat like because it's so close together. I probably won't be hungry anyways. But
well, yeah, I mean, figure it out, man. Maybe,
yeah,
obviously you just have like some beverages or whatnot and at the others or whatnot, but we can talk more about that in detail too if you're stressed out about it. But the gist here is just having no breakfast at all, fasting, or having like some coffee and having some water and things like that. Optional light breakfast. So if you guys wanted to have breakfast for this, essentially all that would mean is like you could do something like egg white scrambled with some peppers and onions and turkey bacon slices, for example, and some hot sauce from sriracha on top. That's a really light calorie option, which will still give you a lot of calories for Thanksgiving, right? Number 2 here, know what you will have, know what the host will be having there. So like this obviously depends. If you're hosting Thanksgiving, obviously you're going to know what's going to be there. Some families do it differently. I'm in Texas, so I say y'all a lot, and they fry a turkey. Like they'll either smoke a turkey, they'll fry it. Dude, they'll have ham. And the biggest thing here is banana pudding. And that is so delicious, but there's so much sugar. So it's like a lot of like Southern, like it's very different than New Hampshire. New Hampshire is like a very standard, like you put the turkey in the oven, you put the stuffing inside the turkey. Stuffing's not that big of a deal down here. I'm not sure what it's like in Illinois. Marty knows what I'm talking about, but down here is a bit different. But let's say that you're hosting, you're going to know what you're having. But let's say you're not hosting, right? You're probably not going to know exactly the options. And sometimes it feels a little bit uncomfortable to be like, hey, Tom, dude, are you smoking the turkey or frying it? Hey, man, what kind of cobbler is going to be there? It's going to be a little bit awkward, right? Unless it's like a really cool, friend of yours and you're close. Sometimes it's not that way. So in this case, it's not, I would say bring a dish, right? You're going to bring a dish anyways because why? You don't want to be rude, right? So you're going to bring a dish to someone else's house. So if you have control of the dish that you're having, why not make the dish a healthy option like potatoes, sweet potatoes, or vegetables, right? You can bring over, right? Instead of bringing a dessert. If you bring a dessert and it's easier, whatever, I would say you're going to, I'll tell you what I'll do here in a second. But that's kind of how this would go about if you guys were going to another person's house. Okay. And then for as far as making your plate, right? Sticking to lean turkey. So obviously you have dark and white. Usually getting the white turkey, you're going to have a little bit more lean options, right? Which means that the dark is going to actually have more calories because the fat. Okay. So lean turkey, you can have more of. Okay. Healthy vegetables. So whatever the family.
So say that again, Colton. So you eat white turkey, you eat dark turkey. I don't understand.
White turkey.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Because it's going to be more lean, right? It's going to be a lean
Okay.
of the bird. Whereas
Okay.
the dark is going to be a little bit more fatty. So if you
Gotcha.
guys, like, again, the dark does taste delicious. I get it, man. I know. And I'm not going to say if someone comes back next week, let's say Vince is like, dude, I had dark turkey. God dang it. I'm not going to be like, dude, you had dark turkey? What the hell? Like, I'm not going to be that way, right? It's going to be like, dude, it's okay. How was it? You're gonna be like, oh, it's phenomenal. It's fine, right? But I'm just going with the flow here, and it's just a healthier, more lean option is going to be the white. Okay, whatever vegetables, carrots, asparagus, green beans. Generally, depending on what other things that may be there. I'm not sure salad might be there as well, depending on what sort of, again, Complex carbs, there's potatoes almost at every place, right? Sometimes there's mac and cheese. That's a big one down here. That's what I would say is processed carbs. So when I'm talking about complex carbs, I'm thinking more about potatoes here, slow digesting carbs. So carbs that are more filling, more airy, and lighter in weight. Okay, so potatoes. The gravy. Let's just use our best judgment here. Like, I mean, I've been to Thanksgivings where I've seen a disgusting amount of gravy on people's plate. And you're like looking to your right, you're like, dude, whoa, that's a lot of gravy, right? We like to go overboard here. So I would say, try not to smother your gravy. By the way, if there's stuffing and that's your favorite part, have what you freaking want. Okay. If it's like, I'm most excited about stuffing this year, or I'm most excited about mac and cheese, allow yourself to have it. Right. But there's a difference of having some stuffing and then not sharing and taking most of the tray. Right. So just keep in mind, guys, I'm never going to pick on y'all for having what you want. I'm not saying don't have what you want. I'm just saying be mindful, right? Be your best judgment. Okay. Don't fill up too much on bread. So depending on the hors d'oeuvres at people's places, sometimes there's bread. It's like going to Olive Garden and you're filling up on the breadsticks. You're not even hungry then for the meal, right? But then also too, you just filled up on processed carbs that are just going to bloat you before your meal even started, right? And so the whole goal is to somewhat have a little bit of energy after Thanksgiving, right? And so try not to fill too much up on the bread, and then just be mindful of the appetizers, right? Just be mindful of your calories and how much you have. If there's deviled eggs, for an example, allow yourself to have some appetizers, sure, but just be your best judgment again. And again, just don't, stuff, appetizer after appetizer. Then when you sit down, you're already having some stomach discomfort and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I can eat, but I don't want to be rude. So I'm going to eat, right? These are the really, really good rules here. Okay. This is what I really want us to do. Okay. The one plate rule, stuff your plate as high as possible. Okay. I'm allowing you guys to have one plate. There should be no white on the plate. Okay. This is the time that there would be no white. You wouldn't be able to see white. You're going to put as much of it on the plate as possible. Okay. Why would I do that? Because it's going to avoid you going back for seconds. Right? Because you're going to be full after one. And subconsciously, when we go back for seconds, you're going to see the platter again. You're like, oh, that looks kind of good. Oh, dude, that looks good. I didn't try that last time. We have that, right? And we're just going to do that. So one plate is a really good rule. And then one dessert. Have as much of that dessert as possible, but only choose one. Because then when you're having, let's say, pecan pie, pumpkin pie, chocolate cream pie, that's 3 different pies. You're having all of your calorie goal right there in pie, right? So that's why I would just recommend one, okay? Eat until you're 80% full, right? The goal is to watch football, right? This is a good one. Just, don't like, you're going to be sitting there like this. You're going to like, oh my God, man, my stomach kills. You probably ate too much, right? Everyone knows that feeling on Thanksgiving. And that's ultimately, unfortunately, what a lot of us are doing in general. And that's where this rule comes into play. Is just be mindful of how much you're eating and chew slowly, because science says by chewing slowly, you actually feel more full. And then set an alcohol limit, right? This is a big one for us as well. So if you're going to be drinking, you guys know my take on this, light beers, because they're like Michelob Ultra, like 90 calories, right? And then tequilas, gin and tonics, vodka sodas, things like that. If again, Thanksgiving is a big drinking holiday, right? So depending on what kind of beers there, if it's like IPA or craft beer, those are generally going to have more carbs, obviously going to be, feeling full. You're going to get that bloating in your stomach. If, some people have holiday drinks like grasshoppers, for an example, if you guys don't know what that is, it tastes like a mint cookie, right? Whatever the family does or whatever y'all do, like that's obviously where you would really stack in a bunch of calories. Okay. So one thing about trying things and things like that, that's okay. And then drink water in between rounds. It depends. Like if you guys want to have fun, I don't care. Like I'm not going to say don't get drunk. It's Thanksgiving. If you want to have fun and you want to, you're around the people you love, this is the one holiday. Again, I told you guys holidays are holidays. These are guidelines. Okay. that means if someone comes back and says, I got drunk and I ate so much dark turkey, Colton, I didn't follow the white turkey. What the hell, man? I'm gonna go back to rule number 1. You can't fuck up, right? I'm gonna tell you guys that that's okay. Was it fun? And you're like, dude, it was amazing. The Lions won, whatever it is, right? And then I'm gonna say, hey, look, man, awesome. Let's get back on track and let's make one decision moving forward, right? That's the mindset we have to carry in this program, and really just about making this a lifestyle and not beating yourself up just because maybe you got drunk and had some dark turkey. Okay. And then lastly here, this is a big one. This is very, very good, is walks, right? And we should be doing this anyways, guys, is like when you have big dinners, for instance, like for me, like I know if I go to like Texas Roadhouse, for an example, and I know I went a little bit too hard on those loaded mashed potatoes because those smack, man, I feel pretty bloated. So for me, I'll always go for a walk. And even if it's just like around the parking lot for a bit, all that sounds weird. Or it's like, hey, when I get home, I go for a walk. That's really, really good for digestion, right? So after Thanksgiving, let's say that you just take your family out, right? Actually get your kids involved, or just play with your cousins or play with your daughters, right? Or depending on how old they are, of course, because they might be teenagers like Vince, and they might not like that, right?
No.
So that just depends. But let's say that you're around, the younger ones, and you have your nieces and nephews there. And Martine's got a giant family, so he's got all of his nieces and nephews. And you're just getting involved with them after you eat. It's going to help you with your digestion. Okay, guys. And so that's what I have for you guys tonight. We'll open this up for some questions. But I'm hoping that was helpful.